punching my chin so hard in that thumbnail? That's a really good question. Very, very curious thing for me to do. Let me just wait for this thing to start up for one more second. There we are. Okay. Love that little lag in the start of it. All right. I think I got a good order for today's content. Hope y'all are doing well. So let's start with something light. Harry Styles. Everyone's talking about that Harry Styles these days. All I hear, especially my friends who admire men, they really can't stop talking about the Harry Styles. Very interesting thing. We've seen, if you follow music business punditry, we've been hearing that vinyl's about to crash. Vinyl's crashing. These wait times, people aren't going to do it. People aren't going to keep paying all this money for vinyl. It's over. It's getting dumb. Well, at least at the top of throws, I think we always have to remember you have to judge things by like what's happening as a larger trend and what's happening at the very top. And Harry Styles has definitely proven that wrong. He is doing quite well. Broke Taylor Swift's record of most vinyl sales. And I think the thing to remember is that like there's so many people who are always doing bad punditry in the music business about that physical items are dead and people still want to own a piece of you. We have to remember most of these people don't own a record player. It's just a fact. They want to own a part of this artist. They want something to support them. They want to feel something. They want to have something their friends don't have. And this is why having physical merchandise is so, so, so important. Okay. So to follow up on last week where we discussed Halsey and the TikTok scandal, I wanted to gloat a little because there's this great article. Here's the usual disclaimer. While I do work for Rolling Stone, I don't think anybody there even knows I do this stream. They do not pay me to promote this article. It doesn't do that much promotion for them anyway. They are a way bigger platform than me. But Cheyenne Roundtree, who's an amazing journalist, she was also at the Daily Beast, where I do some work for, really does incredible work, has a nice article that I thought had some interesting tidbits, but I see my highlighter software has been dying, which I'm going to have to get a new one. But so they have this story of this singer, Trevor Daniel, and they talk about how Trevor kind of came into prominence through TikTok. You know, they had an emo rap track success. Speaking of emo rap, man, watch that XXXTentacion documentary this week on Hulu. It's got a lot of flaws to it, but, you know, particularly whitewashing what a horrible human being he was. And even with like how much whitewashing they did of that, they had to show him being such a bad person so much because that's how bad a person he is. But I really loved his music. I thought there was a lot of really interesting things for musicians in there. I was gonna make a video on it, but I really feel like promoting that dude more is not my vibe. So you know, don't think I need to give more of a platform to him, but I will say this. If you think that you would be benefited from learning more about him, that documentary has some great stuff about how he came up, and they do a good job of showing some of how he played the game. And I will be discussing, I'm going to do a video on record labels versus licensing soon. And I'm going to try to show some of his attitude towards that as an example, because I thought it was really interesting what he said about that in it. All right, Sonny Hendricks has a great point. I don't think promoting him will help his current situation. I'm not concerned about his situation, but that's a great point. I'm much more concerned with that you don't reward. I don't even want to get into what his accusations are, because if I don't say them right, it's not going to be good. Okay, back to this article. So this guy becomes bigger artists through TikTok. And so here's the funny thing that I felt very validated about is a lot of people doubted that what Halsey was saying was authentic. They thought it was all a bit of a grift and that really this was the engineered viral moment. And so he says here, it's just been pretty impossible to put out music. It feels like I'm at the DMV. Every time I go to deliver music, it's like, oh, well, you need to do this, post on TikTok more, tease these songs so we can see which ones they react to. I do that and I don't really hear anything because they're really expecting, even though they say they're not, they want it to go viral again. Okay, so this is a lot of what I was saying last week. One, when you're a DIY artist and you get into a big label or major label system, the amount of bureaucracy you have to deal with once you're there, it's unbelievable how much red tape is set up. Once you're in these big companies with lots of moving parts for you to get things out and get things in the schedule, because you got to make sure that the digital person has time to do it, the promotion, all these people have to be clued in to when it's priority and there has to be a space in the schedule so it's not overly slogged, everything isn't too busy, and you're at the mercy of a much bigger organization, and a lot of people don't get used to that. Now, also what I said last week was I imagine they wanted some sort of a game plan. Here it is, them saying to a person who got popular through TikTok, why don't you keep doing what you were doing? And now the artist isn't very happy about it. Now, I'm not going to pretend that's the whole story, but it is this ironic thing of like, just as if you got married to someone who said, you know, the thing I like about you most is your buff body, and then you let that buff body go, they might not be happy. What they liked about this person is they were willing to play the TikTok game and they were talented, and now they're not playing the TikTok game. So I did think it was hilarious that their record label wouldn't answer the request to talk about this. That was fun. But there's more fun stuff in this article. When Halsey had to reply about the incident last week, she said, "Everything is marketing," Halsey wrote in a TikTok that ironically went viral as a portion of the new track played. "I just want to release music I deserve better." In subsequent tweets and comments, Halsey clarified that it wasn't the directive to make TikToks that upset her, but the vague instructions to post 6 videos that needed to hit an imaginary goalpost of views before the label would decide on a release date. They just said I have to post TikToks. They didn't specifically say about what, so here I am. This is the thing. They labels see TikTok as part of the plan. And we're going to get into that in the next thing we're going to discuss. But, like, I don't know. I saw a lot of bad takes about this. I hate to be that person that gloats. Well, I mean, let's be honest. We all like to be the person who gloats. I'm gloating right now. I think I got this pretty damn right. And I think we're just going to see more of this. This is not the end of this trend. And as someone who's talked to some people who've written articles about this, about how many clicks it gets, it sure is not going to be the end of it, because publications are going to keep doing these articles because it gets clicks. Anyway, I want to keep talking about TikTok, though, so I'm going to do what I do between clicking to new links. I'm going to sip a bunch of water. All right. If you guys don't know what Vox Earworm is, you should. It's probably one of the best music-based YouTube channels, and they don't do what I do. They do video essays on certain subjects that are very well reported. Estelle Caswell, who is the director, curator, reporter, I don't know what they go by for that exact term, but they are incredible journalists. Made some of the best videos. So they put up one yesterday called "We Tracked What Happens After TikTok Songs Go Viral." Here's the thumbnail. So here's the thing. Vox, for a media company, and all of us who work in media, we really like fair use laws, which means you can take a snippet of it and comment on it. It's what media companies thrive on. Fox is known to not be so polite about that with their YouTube videos in a little bit of a hypocritical way. So I can't actually play the parts of this video that I want to play and comment on, unlike I've done in some of these past streams. But what I am going to do is I'm going to hope you watch this video when we're done with this. Like I said, the title's right there. Actually, I see I could put it on the screen a little better. There we go. This video is very much worth your time. It's 22 minutes. It's super interesting. They do data-driven, like no assumptions, like just hard facts on how TikTok and Spotify and major labels and all sorts of facets of the business are interacting with TikTok and how TikTok's changing the music business. It really is must watch. And it also debunks some of the dumbest things I see said about TikTok and Spotify. So, what do you call it? I'm going to get into some fun things that I learned from the video, and I'll discuss them with you. So let me just get this zoomed in more properly. The fun thing about my most recent years of my life is I'm going quite blind with each day that passes. Maybe quite blind. I'm losing my once pristine vision. So here's the first lesson. They do this, they follow one person who had a viral hit on TikTok to start. They cover a couple different people who had that. But the one gets 15 million views before he gets the song out. And this is the thing I tell people all the time. If you're planning on going viral, if you think you're going to go viral, you have to have so many things set up. You have to have the merchandising set up. You have to have that song ready to go. They didn't have any of that. The song wasn't even fully written. They just posted the snippet, which yet again, like I never even imagined a world where we would have snippets not ready to post and we'd be teasing them already. But I mean, not everybody is mentored or trained. But here's the thing, and this is what I've had to tell so many people. I get these emails sometimes that say, I need a consultation with you right away. We're going viral. And I tell these people every time, I'm like, every hour you're losing. They had 15 million impressions, which probably could have turned into millions of streams, which is tens of thousands of dollars because they didn't have the song ready. When you're going viral, every hour is a matter of seizing on it. And I tell everybody, I'm like, you don't want to be playing catch up, which is why you want to have things prepared. It's one of the things like why I tell you with the consistent, sustained promotion of why you got to have the next video there, because here's the other thing. The biggest way, and I can't count how many consultations I've done with people who have had a viral moment and then they didn't follow it up very fast. So it was like, let's say it's 6 months before they followed it up again. They really, really regret all of that because at the end of the day, they didn't get to capitalize on it. The audience dies down and they didn't get all of the things they hear about other people getting from viralness, because virality requires being set up for future success and following it up fast and giving people more of what they liked about you in the first place. And, you know, sometimes it's impossible. Like, I don't think it was possible for Ty Zonde to cash in on his virality because we were just laughing at that weird video. And if they manufactured it, that would have been a little weird. But like a lot of people, when they're going viral because people like it, like they show with this person, it was a lack of preparedness that didn't let them cash in. Then they seem to be doing well when you watch the video. But the more interesting thing they show in this video is what they call the TikTok to Spotify pipeline. So many times I hear from people, my video's doing well, but I'm not getting any streams on TikTok. And inevitably, and I'm not kidding you when I say this, I'm going to go 15 or 20 for 15 or 20. Like, I've never gotten this wrong of when I say to the person, okay, cool, let me see your profile. and then they don't have a link in bio, or if they do have a link in bio, it links to candles instead of their songs. I mean, I've even made a TikTok about how often I see this with people, and they wonder why people aren't jumping over to listen to their songs. You got to make it as the less friction you put there to make people jump over. It's even a thing that you need to do sometimes. Let's say the song is called Walk on the Beach, but the chorus is, I was looking in your eyes, ooh baby, la 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 la. If you don't have looking in your eyes, baby, ooh la 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 song stream, like linked in your link in bio, a lot of people aren't gonna get it. You gotta remember, people are scrolling TikTok here. They are not brain surgeons most of the time. I say this as someone who does a lot of scrolling on TikTok and considers themselves an intelligent person, but we're not always dealing with what we like to call the thinking kind. Always make sure that you are making it as easy as possible. And also, if you're going viral on TikTok ever, make sure that you follow up with videos that tell who you are, tell your story, and try to do it. So here is one of the most interesting things in this video. All I hear now is that, see you guys like that Thai Sunday. All I hear is you can't get signed to a major label unless you have a TikTok hit. And, you know, there's a lot of TikTok to major label pipeline these days, but that's never been true. And I've said this before. The Spotify viral is a bigger driver of signings, and in general, a producer going to an A&R they already have a relationship with and saying, yo, this person's got the heat, check out this song, and then they see that this artist is really talented, that's much more popular. But so they actually went in and quantified it. They looked at every new signing since 2020, and they found that only 1/3 of the artists who signed to major labels had a TikTok hit beforehand. So that's thoroughly debunked. I love a good fact and a good study to debunk things that I hear from morons all day, especially some of the morons that really write really dumb things in my comments and degrade me and degrade what I say. So bravo for that. So an interesting thing was one of the artists who was going viral with a cover did something I've never heard of before that was really smart, which is they made a pseudonym for themselves. It was like a really silly name, and then put the cover there so they could cash in on the virality, but they didn't want that cover forever being their most popular song on Spotify, since they had all these originals they were proud of and they didn't want to be known for it, but they figured they could get some notoriety, get some fans also like crossover, hopefully some algorithmic favors, and just in general, you know, they got a bunch of record label offers and they cashed it on that, got some streams and made proof of concept from it. But I thought that was very smart, that if like, so many of you ask me about creating under different pseudonyms, especially when it's a different genre, but particularly too, if you think you got something with a song or a song's going viral that you did a cover, you don't want that to be your biggest thing, that's what pseudonyms are for. People have been doing that for as long as I can remember knowing music. All right, that's what I have to say on that. It's water time. Okay, so now we get to news about all of our least favorite and somewhat necessary to deal with company Spotify. So on the Chartmetric blog, Chartmetric has a great blog. Rutger Rosenberg, who is actually who I talked to at the company that made it so that I did the video on them, who hooked me up with an account to do that tour of it. He wrote a pretty interesting blog, but he has this great thing. So Medea is like this music business study company. Like they're like, I'm trying to think of like what you would call them, but like they're like almost, you don't call it a think tank here, but they do market research and sell it to people like the major labels and things like that. And then they put out a white paper. Then they have a nerd like me read it and write it into plain English for strategy for labels. It's a thing I've done for a decade or so. So I thought this was really interesting, is a lot of times people doubt me when they say how much more dominant Spotify is than everybody. But if you combine subscribers for Apple Music and Amazon, it's not as much as Spotify. And like really, then you got Tencent, which is not as much of the I wouldn't call what they do a direct correlation. Like, it's not the exact service that these three do. And then you got YouTube Music, which obviously is their streaming platform for music that you do pay for a subscription for. It's just crazy to watch how much that dominance is, and a lot of people don't believe me, especially if they're an Apple Music user. They feel like everyone uses it, and like the thing I tell everybody is never assume you're normal. In fact, if you're interested in this type of stuff, you're probably not normal, so don't assume other people behave like you. Instead, learn how other people behave and adjust to that. I know I'm a freak of nature, and I know my habits are not like other people, and I never assume that the way I consume things is that way, and it helps me make very good marketing decisions. Okay, more Spotify bullshit. So Spotify, you may have seen today, launched a music career advice platform. It says it's like an artist manager in your pocket. I'm happy to say that I'm very unhappy to say that unfortunately most of this is just absolute junk, where they try to push their advertising platform and their marquee tool on you. And I hope you've watched my videos on those tools. If you have not, I highly recommend doing that instead of taking their propaganda on why you should give Spotify more money. And truly, honestly, this made me really mad today. This fucking company is, they know they're beyond reproach, or they think they're beyond reproach. They're not going to be. Like, and honestly, this channel is going to shift very much to agitating this company in the coming months about what we do to get musicians funding. I got plans to shift the conversation about what pieces of shit they are. And this is just another pile of shit in their fucking gigantic Voltron of shit that they are. They literally are like, oh, we're helping artists. This literally is just one big advertisement to how artists can give them money so that they actually get heard. It's fucking disgusting, and I'm fucking tired of it. I'm so fucking over this company doing things like this. And honestly, I think they know their days of getting to pay artists fucking nothing are coming to an end, which is why they keep doing. 22 has been an assault of, look, we're so artist friendly, when it's just crap like this all the time. That is like literally just like, ooh, we gave you a tip of really obvious information, a bunch of thinking for people who don't think, but you should buy our product. And it's like, they treat themselves like they're fucking saints, and everybody's so stupid. But we're not going to stand for that much longer. I got big plans, and I'm ready to go. So then there was a funny thing of that Business Insider, coincidentally. So if you're lucky enough to not have to ever read the cursed publication that Business Insider is, it's a very expensive subscription, but thank God media jobs make that tax deductible. So they showed that Spotify offers base salaries of $75,000 to a little under $300,000, whereas TikTok $30 per hour to $400,000 per year, Netflix about the same exact thing, Twitch $60,000 to $201,000. It's like this funny thing of like, Spotify, they're required to pay an amount of royalties, but the fact of the matter is, why, you can't get good developers and you can't make a good app unless you pay talent enough money to come to you. But Spotify spends money in so many frivolous, disgusting ways that do not help artists, or for that matter, anybody. And they need to be held accountable to that too, because it's too much of artists' income. And that's a lot of what we're going to be discussing here, is what they're going to have to do to change. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to going in on these fuckers, because they've gotten away with this for way too long. Okay, that wraps up my portion of talking. So I'm going to start scrolling through comments after I drink some water. So why don't you put your questions in the chat, and I'll answer them until we run out. Louis Lazuka says, someone told me that it's in the contract that they're required to make 2 TikToks a day, even if they hit it. I don't believe that for a second. I've seen a lot of major label. I mean, if you think it this way, what a lot of people pay me to do is before a contract goes to a lawyer, is look at it. I've seen every major label's contracts in 2022, and there's no truth to that. If that's in a contract, it's with some like fucking clown record label who thinks they can do that, because I don't think that even would stand up to a court of law. In fact, I don't even say it without a legal degree. That doesn't stand up to a court of law. Okay. Plum says, Jesse, I'm having a nightmare trying to change my artist name, trying to re-release old music from an old name to a new one. Any ideas on what I should do? Could I remaster it or remix it? Length? Yeah, but I honestly, I answered all this in a video. You should look at the video called How to Start a New Music Project. But the real truth of it is you can't switch your Spotify name over like you can socials, you know, Instagram, YouTube, a lot of them, you can change your name on it, your @ name anytime you want. Some of them have a like pause period on it to prevent hackers. But you know, you keep all of, God, now I can't remember if you keep all of your plays if you switch to a different artist name. But what I do remember is, I mean, no matter what, you can re-upload songs. It is fine. If they're taken down, they can be put up under another artist's name. Anybody can do that with any distribution. Josh Cabalas asked, what's the name of this channel recommendation? That video comes from the news site Vox, and it's part of their Earworm series. If you Google Vox Earworm, you'll find it. Sasha Bowers-Cohen says, are you on Twitch? I technically have a Twitch profile, and I'm going to start trying to stream to both and TikTok during this, even though TikTok is a terrible experience compared to YouTube, but I'm going to start streaming on all of it soon. I'm just, even though we're like a month-ish into this, I'm still feel like I'm dipping my foot in and really getting my footing, so I take it a little bit at a time. Wormser says, I've scheduled out the entire summer with songs and videos, content, and such. Thanks to CSP. Thanks, Jesse. That is awesome. I love to hear that. Sonny Hendricks says, if Spotify success is more prominent than TikTok, would you suggest using TikTok to promote your Spotify? I can't seem to bridge any gap from any socials to my Spotify. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it that the #1 way to promote on Spotify right now is TikTok. It's just you got to learn best practices. I mean, I have a whole entire playlist if you go to my channel page on how to do that. Like I've said on these streams before, take 3 hours, make a new account on TikTok, take 3 hours, and if an artist that's similar to you comes up, and they're doing something that's interesting on TikTok, click heart and comment on it, and click not interested on everything that's not that. And in 3 hours, you will have nothing but inspiration. You will know exactly what to do on TikTok very fast after you get the algorithm trained to show you what you want to see. Louis Lazuka says, I wonder how much those Spotify billboards cost in NYC. I mean, Spotify has billboards fucking in every city right now. They cost a lot. But here's the one thing I will say. So I work right by the one in Times Square. Like if I walk out of my office, I'm pretty much looking at it. I literally, my office window looks at the Amazon one, which is much smaller. At least those make you aware of an artist coming out with songs. It makes you aware that it helps promote an artist, does something for musicians. It's all this other shit that they spend money on that is so disgusting. Like even I used to date a girl who worked at Spotify in New York for a while, and like the fucking candy wall, like just a wall of fucking junk food all day, and they'd brag about it. The fucking, it's just, so gross. Sonny Hendricks, can you put me on the Rolling Stone cover? If only I had any power whatsoever at Rolling Stone, aside from to tell my podcast hosts that they did a great job or that we're going to market something or tweet something different. That's about all I get away with. Literally no power there. Wormser, simple question. How do I go viral? It's a question actually no one can answer if anybody says that they can. Viral is all a new idea. Like the basic equation of anything viral, just like I tell you, like the basic thing of like marketing is what would get somebody to tell another friend about this? It's the same thing with viral. That is what virality is. It's just at a massive scale. Marketing, you can get away with somebody just telling like, you know, a friend or two, like that's good. But virality is like that thing, like when we send it to like 8 people we know and like we really, really go off and are really impressed. It's reverse engineering that question and asking that, and it's different for every person with every type of content. But that is the right thought to do it. God, every once in a while I scroll this thing bad. Okay, Dream Katari says, I'm just a beat maker. I make lo-fi. What kind of story should I be telling? Listen, show how you make your beats. Make imagery that feels like your songs. Those things are all there. I mean, tell stories of your life about the like sonic landscapes you're doing, about times you've felt that way from those sonic landscapes. All of that works really well. Dave R., did you already talk about Spotify's Marquee beta and is it worth it? Okay, here's the worst thing. While I went off on Spotify Marquee, and you can watch my video on it, what I will tell you, since I made my videos, I've had a lot of friends who qualify for Marquee use it, and it's undeniably true that if you use Marquee and it's a song people are liking, that it triggers the algorithm way, way more. And you're, I mean, God, like 2 of the people that just did it, it's like their monthly listeners. Both of them, like, I think it was like not double, but just under double. And it sucks because they paid a lot of money for it, but if your goal is growth and you have budget, Marquee works. It's just gross and disgusting that they charge for this because they really should be just doing this for the musicians. Kibby Parbs says, do you think stream revenue is a reasonable goal for main source of income, or is it too small compared to other options? I have friends who make their living. I'm not going to say they're living high on the hog, or God, that's such a weird saying to say, high on the hog. I mean, are we smoking pigs over here? What's going on? Anyway, make a living means totally different things. I live in one of the most expensive neighborhoods in America, in Brooklyn. Like, it's fucking crazy here. I don't know how anybody could live here making under $100,000. It's all relative to what you consider a lifestyle. Some people just want to make enough to live in their parents' basement and then have money to eat. I know a lot of people who make $40,000 to $70,000 off streaming easily a year, and that's even split up between a couple partners and their bands. There's a lot of money to be made when you're doing it. I mean, the equation we always say: 1 million streams is about $10,000. So, like, do with that what you will with your goals. Well, question mark. What do you think about platforms like Submit Hub, etc.? Sorry if you're repeating. When is it best to pitch curators, before or after, for a rock band? Fun fact. My second to last video answered when to pitch. I've said this in as well. If you watch like the last few videos on like Chartmetric, playlisting, and Spotify pitching, I answer all of that in there. But Chartmetric tells you when to pitch every blog, and I explain that literally, I think, in like my second or third to last video. Okay, Matt Clark says, what do you think about companies like Downtown Music Holdings and Sound Royalties that offer financial assistance to stars to fund their projects? Yeah, that's wonderful. Listen, that's how artists have capital to do cool and interesting things. The whole thing with signing up with them is that they are taking a chance on you and giving you advance to see if you can do well with them. And I think that's a great thing. Downtown's a great company. Straight up. I've known a lot of people who've worked with them. They've done great stuff over the years. Mikey Mayo, wonderful human being. Shout out to Mikey. Yes, how am I doing today? You're such a nice person, Mikey. Thank you. I'm doing great today, honestly. My best friend moved to New York for the summer, and him and I had a great night out last night. I've been working on fun stuff. I've been working on a very controversial video that'll be up next week. And I've been listening to the unreleased Charlie XCX World all day, which really puts you in the mood. Okay, K10 says, would requiring an artist to post on TikTok stand up in court, and if the person signed it? No, I said that before. All right, Josh Kabbalah says, currently watching your Getting Your Music Noticed playlist. I'm finishing up and I've already applied and learned so much. Where should I go after I watch through this playlist? I'd skip around the how to go from 0 to 10,000 fans playlist and just move from there. The how to get your music noticed playlist is basically my TLDR of the other playlist. So yeah, that's the long version. The how to get your music noticed is like if you don't have 3 billion hours to watch that. Geranium Drive says, hey, Jesse, I often see bookers and music creators and gatekeepers at bars around my city. How would you go about striking up a conversation and introducing my music to them? Yeah, this is a really interesting one because I had to go through this a lot. You know, I can remember being a kid. I may have told this story before, but I actually ran like a crazy punk club, hardcore goth club in literally the most dangerous city to be in the late 90s, Newark, New Jersey. It was the drive-by capital, and like the club was filled with violence. My boss sadly died, and then I had to run a lot of it after he died, which was really unfortunate. And I was never of legal age while I ran it. It was fucking crazy. But all is this to say is a lot of what I did is I just showed up. I met other people. I talked to other people. And eventually I ended up in conversations with the people who ran the place. They saw I was smart. They saw I was willing to work hard. They started offering me things. And yeah, and like my bands would play. I became the sound man. Then I became concert booker. And they taught me lots of things. I mean, I learned how to make vodka and cranberries, even though I was 19 years old. And I really learned how to drink them. But like, it's that, or you can introduce somebody, pay them a compliment, ask them a question about themselves. People fucking love talking about themselves. You know, like real easy thing. Usually those people are passionate about music or they know something. Yo, man, you know a lot about music. Who should I be listening to? I'm always looking for new artists. That's usually going to go well with anybody. It's the same thing. Like with musicians, imagine what that person's a nerd about. Like, you know, you see a drummer and you've watched them play and you're like, man, that guy really knows his runes. Yo, man, where'd you learn runes? How do you study? You see a guitarist with 45 pedals. Start talking to them about Chase Bliss guitar pedals. I'm sure they'll fucking talk your ear off till you want to kill yourself. Okay. Dan Y says, why is it so hard to meet other music artists? I live in LA and I don't fit in anywhere. Dan, I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's your attitude. I've gone through this with people enough to say that I may be wrong. I wouldn't bet my nice apartment on it, but here's what I'm going to say is, most of the time, if you don't think there's anybody like you, you haven't found your community. You should do your community work. There is a link to how to do community work on my front page of my YouTube. Secondly, this is usually a thing of like, you got to learn and do research. I'm going to be honest with you. I've lived in Brooklyn. This has been where I hang out for 23 years now. I still find new places where there's people like me all the time. There's a bar I go to every Monday night in Brooklyn because music business people hang out there. And I didn't know about that for years. And yet it was acting like that. And now I go there because I know it's a good night to hang around and talk to people. We are not all knowing. You probably have not experimented enough to know where to go. This is about you digging deeper and going harder to find it. Do your community work, watch what people tweet, share on Instagram. Once you follow them, you'll eventually get clues, especially in LA. I can't imagine unless you're playing like klezmer hyperpop or something that there's not a community for you. I'm going to get a drink and then I'm going to answer the next one. What should you consider when setting, Natasha Pearl says, what should you consider when setting goals for your first release? Like, what would define a successful first single release? I'm probably going to spoil a video I'm writing right now, but here's my thing. Never put number goals. What the goal is to do the work that will do right by your release. Did you do all the things? I'm going to be honest with you guys. Here, let's go. I'm literally writing a video about this right now, so fuck it. Well, I'll give away some of the ghost. All right. Let me make sure you guys can see this. This is very easy to see even on my channel page, but I'm going to go with, I got to move this over a little bit. My videos, these are the views, they're not hitting the way I feel like they should be. I think I'm making some of my best work. All I ever try to do is make my best work. I try to promote it as much as I can. So I'll be honest with you. I've realized however hard I'm trying is not hard enough. And it's giving away a future video, but you're going to see a very big change in not what I talk about on this channel or like the way I present information. Well, I guess it is the way I present, but you're going to see a very large production change. Let's just say this. You're not going to see any of this anymore. You're going to see me describe things, show things in a much more dynamic, exciting to watch way very soon. I've basically been practicing on it for about a week. Not quite ready to go there, but you'll see this background in live streams, but it's the channel's look and the way I present information is about to change drastically because I can't help it. Like, I'm doing as best as I can, but now I got a new vision for how to do it even better, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to hope that even though I think I'm making better videos than some ones with large numbers, they're just not hitting. And I think a lot of it is that it's hot out and people aren't doing, maybe you guys aren't sharing hard. I'm going to blame you. You're not sharing hard enough. But I'm going to make sure that I do something to change. And all you can do is show up every day, think hard about how you promote your music as hard as you can, and you can't control how many views it gets. You can't put a metric for success because it leads to disappointment. What you can do is honor your dreams by working hard on them. All right, now I just ruined that whole video. Okay, well, question mark says, what's the best way to pitch to a booking agent through email? Long or short email, live video? Yeah, link to a live video, link to a music video, any of that. And yes, short email. Anything more than 2 paragraphs and 400 words, you're fucking up, dog. Aerodon's Music, did you get a chance to look at the recent Andrew Southworth video I threw into the Discord? You know, I wanted to do that, and I didn't have enough time to do it today, and I was going to do it, but I will watch that, and maybe I want to start having guests here, so Andrew would be a perfect guest for one of them, so him and I should do that since he was kind enough to have me on his channel. Okay, Louis Lazuka says, what do you say about those people who say, I could do that if I tried. How could they change their mindset? I loved your video this week. It was so awesome. I mean, I think I answered that in that video. I mean, I think it's, if you say I could do that if I tried, it's one thing to think and believe in yourself, but you're also like, if you're saying that out loud all the time, you're sounding like a fool to most people who are listening. As we say, you're not getting the intended outcome of your listener. You're getting them to think you're a clown. Yeah, I mean, I believe in myself. I think I could do a lot of things if I didn't do it. But like the key is it's this. You know, it's a funny thing. Like what we always say about app ideas is like people write me all the time. I got this app idea. It's genius. I'm like, cool. Well, like every app we all use, 9,000 people had the same idea. It's not the idea. It's the execution and all the things that follow through. It's not about, like I said about that video, like the Dunning-Kruger. Everything looks easy until you're in it, and then there's so many decisions to make. And once you're immersed in something, you learn so much more. Things are tough. Ed E. Ruger says, did Spotify change it to where release with a feature goes on both artists' release radar? It seems like the last two have only been on my releases radar and haven't gotten near the same amount of plays. There's a distinction with the way you tag primary artists. I can't remember it off the top of my head, and I always have to look this up because I don't upload into aggregators often. That's what the labels I work with do. But there's a certain way to do it. In fact, Andrew Southworth has a TikTok on it, for sure. If you look at his TikTok, or I'm sure if you comment, he'll be kind enough to help you out on his channel. Okay, Nicholas Dendretsky. Sorry if I butchered that. Hey, Jesse, I grew to 400K monthly listeners independently. Would you recommend signing to a major label? Most labels I talk to now want long-term deals. I would need so much context for that, but here's my thing is, no, I'm not a diehard that you need to stay independent all the time. Certain artists can't grow past certain things, especially in pop music, independently, unless you get lots of partnerships with lots of different distribution arms and things like that. It's just not possible. Okay, Dan Blank says, when is it okay to deceive your audience? A lot of us artists present themselves as indie, but they have a label backing them, and no one seems to care. Yeah, I mean, that's totally true. I mean, I master records every day where a label pays, and maybe not every day, but I definitely more than 2 to 3 times a month master records where a label pays me, and the artist presents themselves as not being on a label, and then the next record, they're assigned to that label. That's a thing. I think a little fibbing here and there is fine. I think we've talked about this before. People love seeing a glow up. Letting that glow up so you don't get called the fucking cursed industry plant thing. Letting that glow up happen, I think it's a thing. People are so fucking dumb. You almost have to do it because they create such dumb narratives around everything. Okay, Sonny Hendricks. So back to TikTok. Is it smart to put out funny videos that have nothing to deal with my music to gain interest in me and hope that gets them to Spotify? Or do music-only content or a mix? Listen, everybody's different. Those are viable things. I'm going to be honest with you. I discussed this in that TikTok playlist that's on my main channel page. You should watch that. There's like 5 types of personality categories. All of them work in different combinations for different people. All of them are viable. Just do which one is best and most authentic to you and which one seems to work. Soundeth says, I consider my band rock, and I always hear you discussing finding your microgenre. Is being rock too general? Yes, you got to find something more than that. No one is actually just rock. Because even like, let's call the ultimate still existing rock band the Rolling Stones. I'm not going to argue it. We're just going to do this for sake of example. We'd still subdivide them into like a classic rock and roll or something. You got to niche down, and like even to that, what sometimes the microgenre is a mix of two things too. You got to learn your niche down to your niche. Now, here's the deep dark secret of this too. Some people play really generic music, and that makes it really hard to do microgenre because it's just, you know, like it's rap. It's not trap. It's just like this thing. And yeah, it can make the microgenre thing really hard. The good news for you when that's the case is you probably appeal to a lot of people. The bad news is getting past the first fans is not as easy because you can't do that as easy. And really, you know, the dynamics of this that most people don't realize because they create in one genre is not all microgenres are the same. Some are way more supportive than others. Some are way more of a community than others. But at the end of the day, like that's how you get your early fans. That works, and you gotta find some way of pushing through that, pushing that boulder up the mountain, no matter which size the mountain is. Every genre is a different mountain that the boulder needs to go up. Michael Gould says, are remixes worth pitching to editorial playlists? I actually don't believe that's allowed. I would want to fact check that, but I kind of remember that not being allowed. The Encouragement Kid says, would you ever consider writing up like a draft pitch for non-editorial Spotify playlists to help us get onto other playlists after our song has been released? It's too different from artist to artist. I made that video on how you write a pitch. I'm going to make one soon in kind of the 3.0 version of this channel that I was talking about that we're about to move into. I'm going to make one soon that goes a little deeper, but there's just no template because every artist is so different. I can't read this name, so I heard that music business is like artists give practically all money to the label. Is it actually real to earn money as an artist, and how long an artist has to work to earn money for himself? I mean, here's the thing. Yes, a lot of labels take between 50 to 85%. That's very common. That doesn't mean that when things are going well that it doesn't go really well for them, and it also doesn't mean that tons of artists who have indie or licensing deals don't get way more than that. I mean, my friends with a licensing deal get 65 and their label gets 35, and their label does actually do a good amount for them. They have a great Spotify pitching thing. They even give them tour support. I mean, every deal is different, and it's actually one of the things that they discuss in that Fox Earworm video is they discuss leverage, and I'm going to be going a lot into that very soon in that video I am making on record deals versus licensing. I'm like halfway through that. Tabitha Polaris says, what's everyone's experience with Songtrust as a publishing administrator versus going with the distributor publishing? Those services are largely the same, but I have found from this is anecdotal, but my friends who use Songtrust seem to really love it. I've actually interviewed the founder of Songtrust before on my podcast called Off the Record, if you search that. Really interesting guy, Joe Conyers. They're a great company. All right, we're at the 5-minute mark, so I'm going to go through these comments a little bit and screen some a little bit more. Fear to Stop. Have the best practices for playlist pitches changed since the last time you did a video on it? Any new insight, advice? The last time I did a video on it was about 2 to 3 months ago, and the answer is nope. I want to get to things I don't normally discuss. Yeah. Okay, V25. What are the best distributors who can pitch music to editorial teams on various DSPs? Okay, all the distributors who can pitch are the best ones, but here's the one thing I will tell you. Some of them are way too crowded that unless you have a lot going for you, it's never get through. I mean, I guess, you know, I could name names. I hear complaints every day that the Orchard is so crowded that their pitches seem to fall flat because the Orchard has taken on way too much. I've heard that about other ones, but the Orchard really gets a lot of complaints about that. WM Beck says, any recommendations on making a press kit? Also making my first merch drop. Do you recommend making expensive one-to-one pieces or simple ones? I recommend making different price points for different people to get in. And my recommendation is press kits are trash. One of my earliest videos on this is about how you talk to fans, not the business. Your social media, your YouTube should tell the whole story of anything anybody wants to know about you without having to talk to the business. You should be talking to fans. That's what actually excites people in the music business, not press kits. Jesus Christ. Those things are cursed. Blink Zove. Oh, hey, Jesse. I saw on TikTok a music marketer saying a good strategy is giving your music out for free with no copyright use on it. What are your thoughts on that? My thoughts are they might have a lobotomy if they say that. You can have a copyright on your music and still give it away for free. You can make specific licenses, but particularly what there is there's this thing called Creative Commons, which this fucking moron probably doesn't get, where you can have a selective copyright. It's right there on YouTube. It's wherever you need it. Then people can search through a Creative Commons database. And for example, indies or nonprofits can use your soundtrack. I know a couple friends who've been able to get their start in scoring by doing a lot of Creative Commons and music that would just get into things and get used for things, and then became much more successful because their music was used in a film, and a director would see it in that film. It was really good, and then they'd hire them for something that worked. Creative Commons is the way to do that without a copyright. I mean, this is the problem. There's too many fucking of these music strategists talking on fucking TikTok to get follows that literally know nothing. There's this one like kid on there who's like, he's like, I'm an intern at a local publisher. It's like, why are you giving advice? All right. I kind of got through all of this. A lot of these questions are good, but they came in a little late, and I feel like I shouldn't waste y'all's time with personal questions right now because you're here to talk about music. So I'm going to wrap right here. You guys are the best. I mean, this is so fun each week, and I hope to see you soon. And yeah, next week's video is going to get wild. All right. I'll see y'all.